Welcome back. Coinology. The humble 1-cent coin dated 1994 may look ordinary at first glance, but when you slow down, hold it in your hand, and truly understand what it represents, it becomes a powerful symbol of American history, economics, artistry, and the endless fascination of coin collectors around the world. This tiny copper-colored disc has passed through millions of hands, crossed decades of time, and quietly witnessed major changes in the United States and the global economy. Every scratch, every shine, every perfectly preserved surface tells a story, and that story begins long before 1994 itself. The 1994 1-cent coin, commonly called the Lincoln cent, belongs to a lineage that stretches back to 1909, the year Abraham Lincoln first appeared on American coinage. By 1994, the Lincoln cent had already become one of the most recognized and widely collected coins in the world. People save them in jars, drawers, piggy banks, and albums, often without realizing that certain examples can be far more valuable than their face value of 1 cent. The difference between an everyday penny and a life-changing discovery often comes down to tiny details invisible to the untrained eye. In terms of weight, the 1994 1-cent coin weighs approximately 2.5 grams. This is because by this time, the U.S. Mint had already transitioned away from the earlier mostly copper composition. Instead of being 95% copper like older pennies, the 1994 cent is composed of a zinc core with a thin copper plating. This change was made to reduce production costs as the price of copper rose. Despite this cost-saving measure, the coin still retained its familiar reddish-brown appearance, allowing it to visually blend in with older copper cents while secretly carrying a modern metal structure inside. The diameter of the coin is about 19.05 millimeters, and it has a plain edge with no reading. These physical characteristics may seem simple, but to collectors, consistency in weight and size is crucial. Even a slight variation can indicate a mint error, and mint errors are where stories of massive values and legendary prices often begin. A coin that is off-center, struck on the wrong planchet, double-struck, or missing its copper plating can instantly transform from pocket change into a collector's dream. The coin symbol, though not officially a symbol in the same way as currency signs like the dollar sign, is commonly represented as 1 cent or simply referred to as a cent. This symbol has immense symbolic power. 1 cent represents the smallest unit of U.S. currency, yet it carries enormous historical and emotional value. It represents thrift, hard work, and the idea that even the smallest unit can matter. For collectors, this symbolism adds depth to the pursuit of Lincoln cents, especially specific dates like 1994. The obverse, or front side, of the 1994 1-cent coin features the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln. This design was originally created by sculptor Victor David Brenner. Lincoln faces right, with a calm, thoughtful expression that reflects his role as one of America's most respected presidents. Above his head is the word liberty, and to the right is the date 1994. The phrase "In God We Trust" arches along the top rim of the coin. These words are not just decorative, they reflect the values and beliefs that the nation chose to place on its currency. On the reverse side, the 1994 penny features the Lincoln Memorial design, which was introduced in 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The memorial is shown in detailed perspective, with its columns clearly visible. If you look closely at well-struck examples, you can even see a tiny seated statue of Lincoln inside the memorial, making this one of the few U.S. coins to feature the same person on both sides. Above the memorial is the phrase "United States of America," and below it is 1 cent. The Latin motto "E pluribus unum," meaning out of many, one, appears across the top of the memorial. The history behind the 1994 1-cent coin is deeply connected to the broader story of America in the early 1990s. This was a time of economic transition, technological growth, and cultural change. While the penny itself did not change design in 1994, it continued to serve as a workhorse of everyday commerce. Billions of pennies were minted and circulated, making them one of the most common coins of the era. Yet, within these massive production numbers lie rare variations and errors that collectors search for relentlessly. The 1994 penny was struck at multiple U.S. mint facilities, including Philadelphia and Denver. Coins from Philadelphia typically carry no mint mark, while Denver minted coins display a small d below the date on the obverse. This tiny letter can significantly affect a coin's collectability. Certain mint marks are produced in different quantities, and quality control can vary from mint to mint, leading to differences in strike quality and the likelihood of errors. When people hear claims of a 1994 1-cent coin being worth enormous sums like $197 million, it captures the imagination instantly. While such figures are often exaggerated or based on myths, rumors, or hypothetical scenarios involving unique errors or one-of-a-kind specimens, they serve as powerful motivation for collectors to look more closely at their coins. In the world of numismatics, history has shown that truly unique coins with extreme rarity, dramatic errors, and perfect preservation can sell for astonishing amounts at auction. Even if most 1994 pennies are worth only 1 cent, the dream persists because once in a while, an extraordinary coin really does emerge. Condition plays a massive role in determining value. A 1994 penny that has circulated heavily, with scratches, discoloration, and wear, will almost always be worth face value. However, a coin that has never been circulated, known as uncirculated or mint state, can be worth significantly more to collectors. Coins graded by professional grading services and assigned high grades like MS67 or higher are especially desirable. The difference between a coin worth 1 cent and one worth hundreds or thousands of dollars can be as subtle as a microscopic flaw or a perfect surface. Errors and varieties are the true stars of the collecting world. A 1994 penny with a doubled die, where parts of the design appear doubled due to a misalignment during the minting process, can command strong prices. Off-metal strikes, where the coin is struck on the wrong type of blank, are extremely rare and highly valuable. Missing letters, clipped planchets, broad strikes, and die cracks all add layers of intrigue and potential value. Each error tells a story of a moment when the minting process went slightly wrong, creating something unique. Beyond money, the 1994 1-cent coin carries educational and emotional value. It connects people to history, to the legacy of Abraham Lincoln, and to the everyday lives of millions of Americans who used these coins without a second thought. For many collectors, the thrill is not just about profit, but about discovery, learning, and preservation. Finding an unusual penny in pocket change can spark a lifelong passion for numismatics. As you continue to explore the world of the 1994 1-cent coin, every detail becomes important. The sound it makes when dropped on a table, the color of its surface under different lighting, the sharpness of Lincoln's portrait, and the clarity of the memorial on the reverse all contribute to its story. This is only the beginning of that story, the first chapter in understanding why such a small coin can inspire such big dreams, big claims, and endless fascination. As we move deeper into the story of the 1994 1-cent coin, it becomes clear that this small piece of metal is far more than a unit of currency. It is a survivor of time, a witness to economic shifts, and a silent traveler through countless hands, pockets, and places. Every 1994 penny that exists today carries with it a journey that began the moment it fell from a minting press and landed among thousands of others, still warm, still new, still untouched by the world. During 1994, the United States Mint produced billions of 1-cent coins to meet everyday demand. Most people at the time gave no thought to pennies at all. They were tossed into jars, used for exact change, or left forgotten in drawers. This widespread circulation is exactly what makes high-grade and error examples so fascinating today. When something is produced in massive numbers, true perfection becomes rare, and rarity is where value begins to grow. The minting process itself is an important part of understanding how extraordinary pennies are created. Sheets of zinc blanks were punched out, weighed, inspected, and then coated with a thin layer of copper. These blanks, called planchets, were then fed into presses where enormous pressure stamped Lincoln's portrait on one side and the Lincoln Memorial on the other. This process happened incredibly fast, thousands of times per minute. At such speed, even a tiny misalignment or mechanical hiccup could result in a dramatic error, creating a coin that would one day be highly sought after. Some 1994 pennies exhibit weak strikes, where certain details appear faint. Others may show unusually strong strikes, with razor-sharp details that make Lincoln's hair, coat, and facial features stand out with stunning clarity. Collectors carefully examine the lettering of "In God We Trust," the date, and the mint mark, because even the smallest variation can indicate something special. A slightly doubled letter, a shifted number, or an unusually shaped rim can turn an ordinary coin into a rare variety. Color also plays a major role in a penny's desirability. Freshly minted cents have a bright red color, known in the collecting world as red. Over time, exposure to air and handling causes the copper plating to darken, turning brown. Coins are often classified as red, red-brown, or brown. A 1994 penny that remains fully red decades later is far more valuable than one that has darkened. This preservation of color suggests the coin was carefully stored and protected from environmental damage. The market value of the 1994 1-cent coin varies dramatically depending on these factors. Most examples in circulated condition are worth exactly 1 cent. However, uncirculated examples can sell for several dollars, and high-grade certified coins can reach much higher prices. Error coins, especially dramatic and rare ones, can sell for hundreds, thousands, or even more, depending on the uniqueness and demand. Stories of astronomical values, such as claims of hundreds of millions of dollars, often originate from misunderstandings, speculative hype, or imagined scenarios involving one-of-a-kind errors. Still, history has proven that extraordinary coins can and do achieve mind-blowing prices when rarity, condition, and demand align perfectly. Collectors around the world actively search through rolls of pennies, old collections, and inherited coin jars, hoping to find something special from years like 1994. The excitement lies in the possibility. The idea that a coin you already own could be worth far more than you ever imagined is incredibly powerful. This sense of treasure hunting keeps the hobby alive and growing. The 1994 penny also reflects broader debates about the future of the 1-cent coin itself. For decades, people have questioned whether the penny should continue to be produced at all, given that it often costs more to make than its face value. Yet despite these debates, the penny remains deeply embedded in American culture. Coins like the 1994 cent represent a period when the penny was still a vital part of everyday transactions. Before digital payments and cashless systems began to dominate emotionally, the penny carries nostalgia. Many people remember counting pennies as children, filling piggy banks, or searching for special dates. A 1994 penny might remind someone of their childhood, a specific moment in time, or a loved one who collected coins. This emotional connection adds an intangible value that cannot be measured in dollars alone. As the years pass, surviving examples of well-preserved 1994 pennies become fewer. Coins are lost, damaged, or destroyed, slowly reducing the population of high-quality pieces. This gradual attrition is another reason why values can rise over time. What seems common today can become scarce tomorrow, especially in top condition. Understanding the 1994 1-cent coin requires patience and curiosity. It invites you to look closer, to question assumptions, and to appreciate the craftsmanship behind something so small. Each coin is a snapshot of a moment in history, frozen in metal. Whether worth 1 cent or far more, its true value lies in the story it tells and the fascination it inspires. This continuation takes us further into the depth of the 1994 pennies world, showing that behind its simple appearance lies a complex network of history, economics, artistry, and human emotion. And this journey is far from over, because the more you learn about this coin, the more layers reveal themselves, pulling you deeper into the endless and captivating universe of numismatics. As the exploration of the 1994 1-cent coin continues, the focus naturally shifts toward the human element behind collecting and the almost myth-like status certain pennies achieve over time. Coins are not just metal objects, they are mirrors of human behavior, hope, patience, and sometimes obsession. The 1994 penny exists within this emotional landscape, where logic and imagination often blend together. One of the most powerful forces driving interest in the 1994 penny is the belief that somewhere, hidden in plain sight, there may exist an example so rare and so perfect that it defies expectations. This belief is not without precedent. Throughout numismatic history, coins once thought ordinary have later stunned the world when a previously unknown error or variety surfaced. These discoveries fuel the narrative that even a modern penny can carry extraordinary potential. Collectors study die varieties with almost scientific intensity. Dies are the metal stamps used to strike coins, and over time they wear, crack, or shift. A small crack in a die can leave a raised line on every coin it strikes afterward. A misaligned die can create doubling or distorted images. In 1994, thousands of dies were used across different mints, and each die had its own lifespan. Somewhere among those dies, small imperfections developed, leaving behind clues that collectors search for decades later. The psychology of grading plays a crucial role in value. Professional grading services examine coins under magnification, evaluating surface preservation, luster, strike quality, and overall eye appeal. A difference of a single grade point can mean a dramatic difference in price. A 1994 penny graded MS65 might be relatively affordable, while one graded MS68 can be extremely rare and command a much higher premium. The idea that perfection is almost impossible at mass production levels adds to the mystique. Market behavior also shapes perceptions of worth. When collectors compete for the finest known examples of a specific coin, prices can escalate rapidly. Auction results become reference points, and each record-setting sale reinforces the belief that values can climb even higher. Even rumors of extraordinary prices, such as claims of nine-figure valuations, can influence how people view certain dates and varieties. While such numbers are usually unrealistic for standard coins, they keep attention focused on the series and encourage continued searching. The global reach of the U.S. penny is another fascinating aspect. Although it is an American coin, collectors from Europe, Asia, and beyond actively pursue Lincoln cents. The image of Abraham Lincoln is internationally recognized, and the penny serves as a cultural ambassador of sorts. A 1994 penny might travel far from its original home, ending up in a collection thousands of miles away, admired by someone who has never set foot in the United States. Technology has transformed the way collectors study coins. High-resolution photography, digital microscopes, and online databases allow enthusiasts to compare details more accurately than ever before. A collector examining a 1994 penny today has access to resources that were unimaginable when the coin was first minted. This technological advancement increases the chances of identifying subtle varieties and previously unnoticed errors, keeping the field dynamic and evolving. The idea of investment versus passion is always present in coin collecting. Some people approach the 1994 penny purely as an investment, hoping to find or acquire an example that will appreciate significantly over time. Others collect out of love for history and design, with little concern for resale value. Most collectors fall somewhere in between, balancing financial considerations with personal enjoyment. This blend of motives adds richness to the hobby. Another layer of intrigue comes from the stories attached to individual coins. A 1994 penny found in an old roll purchased decades ago carries a different narrative than one pulled from circulation yesterday. Provenance, or the documented history of ownership, can add credibility and sometimes value to a coin. Knowing where a coin has been and who owned it before creates a tangible link between people across time. The debate over the future of the penny also casts a long shadow over coins like the 1994 cent. If production were ever to cease, existing pennies could take on new significance as relics of a bygone era. In that context, every date becomes a historical marker, and the 1994 penny would represent a specific moment near the end of the 20th century, before digital transactions reshaped everyday commerce. As this journey continues, the 1994 1-cent coin emerges not just as a collectible, but as a symbol of possibility. It reminds us that value is not always obvious, that patience and curiosity can reveal hidden treasures, and that even the smallest objects can inspire grand stories. Each penny holds the potential to connect the past with the present, reality with imagination, and ordinary life with extraordinary dreams. With every new layer uncovered, the 1994 penny proves that its true power lies not only in metal or money, but in the endless fascination it generates. And as the story unfolds further, it becomes clear that this single cent continues to invite deeper reflection, deeper study, and deeper appreciation, keeping collectors and dreamers alike endlessly engaged. Continuing further into the world of the 1994 1-cent coin, attention turns to time itself and how it reshapes meaning. When the penny was minted in 1994, it was simply another year in a long-running series. No one at the mint paused to imagine that decades later people would analyze these coins under magnification, debate their worth, and build entire stories around them. Yet this is exactly what time does. It transforms the ordinary into the historical. The passage of time affects coins physically and symbolically. Physically, a 1994 penny has now lived through years of circulation, storage, and environmental exposure. Some have been worn smooth by constant handling, others have been corroded by moisture, and a small number have remained untouched in rolls, mint sets, or private collections. Symbolically, time adds layers of meaning. A coin dated 1994 instantly places the viewer in a specific era, evoking memories of the world as it was then, the people, the culture, and the economic climate. The concept of scarcity is closely tied to time. Although billions of 1994 pennies were originally produced, survival in high-grade condition is far lower. Every year, more coins are lost, damaged, or destroyed. This slow reduction in population is invisible day to day, but over decades it becomes significant. Collectors understand this, which is why they value not just rarity at birth, but rarity in survival. A pristine 1994 penny today is far rarer than it was the day it left the mint. Another important element is comparison. Collectors often compare 1994 pennies to those from earlier and later years. This comparison highlights subtle differences in strike quality, metal appearance, and overall craftsmanship. Some collectors believe that certain years produced sharper, more attractive coins, while others are known for weaker strikes. These perceptions influence demand, and demand plays a powerful role in market value. The Lincoln Memorial design itself gains deeper appreciation over time. By 1994, this design had already been in use for 35 years, and it would remain until 2008. For modern collectors, the memorial reverse represents a classic era of the penny, distinct from both the earlier wheat reverse and the later shield reverse. The 1994 penny sits comfortably within this long middle chapter, making it a familiar yet historically anchored piece. Economic context also matters. The early 1990s were a period of recovery and change in the United States. Inflation, manufacturing costs, and global trade all influenced decisions at the mint, including the continued use of zinc-based cents. The 1994 penny is a product of these economic realities, quietly reflecting the balance between tradition and practicality. Understanding this context helps explain why the coin is the way it is. Stories of extreme value, such as claims of a 1994 penny being worth hundreds of millions of dollars, often grow stronger over time. As coins age, myths tend to attach themselves more easily. These stories spread through word of mouth, online forums, and social media, blending fact with speculation. While most of these claims do not withstand careful scrutiny, they play an important role in keeping interest alive. They encourage people to look closely, learn more, and engage with numismatics. Education is one of the greatest gifts of coin collecting. Through studying a single year like 1994, collectors learn about metallurgy, economics, art, history, and even psychology. The penny becomes a teaching tool, showing how many disciplines intersect in something so small. This educational aspect adds a depth of value that goes far beyond price. The emotional satisfaction of discovery cannot be overstated. Finding a well-preserved 1994 penny or noticing an unusual feature creates a moment of excitement and connection. It feels like uncovering a secret left behind by history. These moments are what keep collectors searching, examining, and learning, year after year. As the narrative continues to unfold, the 1994 1-cent coin stands as a reminder that value is not fixed. It evolves with time, knowledge, and perspective. What matters is not just what the coin is, but what people see in it. And as long as curiosity exists, this modest penny will continue to inspire stories, debates, and dreams that far exceed its tiny face value. Moving even deeper into the story of the 1994 1-cent coin, the discussion naturally reaches the idea of legacy. Coins are among the few everyday objects designed specifically to last for generations. Paper can tear, digital data can disappear, but metal coins endure. A 1994 penny can outlive the person who first spent it, becoming a silent heirloom passed from one generation to the next. Legacy is especially important in the Lincoln Cent series. Abraham Lincoln himself represents unity, endurance, and moral strength, and his presence on the penny reinforces the idea that even the smallest denomination carries profound meaning. When someone holds a 1994 penny, they are holding not just a coin, but a continuation of a tradition that began more than a century ago. Collectors often think in terms of future value, not just in money, but in historical importance. A child today who saves a 1994 penny may one day show it to their own children as an artifact from the late 20th century. This long-term perspective is what separates casual interest from true appreciation. The coin becomes a bridge between eras, connecting past, present, and future. The market for coins is influenced by emotion as much as data. When collectors feel a personal connection to a particular year, demand can increase even if the coin is not objectively rare. For some, 1994 may mark a birth year, a major life event, or a time of personal significance. These emotional connections subtly shape collecting trends and market behavior. Another important factor is storytelling. Every coin invites a story, and the more compelling the story, the more attention the coin receives. The idea that a simple 1994 penny could, under extraordinary circumstances, be worth unimaginable sums fuels imagination. Even when these stories are exaggerated, they create an atmosphere of possibility that keeps people engaged. In this way, narrative becomes a form of value. Preservation techniques also come into play. Collectors who understand how to store coins properly can protect a 1994 penny's condition for decades. Avoiding moisture, handling coins by the edges, and using archival quality holders can make a significant difference. A coin that is carefully preserved today may become a prized example in the future, while a neglected one may lose all collectible value. The social aspect of collecting should not be overlooked. Coin shows, online forums, and collector groups provide spaces where people share discoveries, debate values, and exchange knowledge. Discussions about specific years like 1994 help build community and keep the hobby alive. Each shared story adds another layer to the collective understanding of the coin. As time goes on, scholarship improves. Researchers publish new findings, identify new varieties, and correct old assumptions. A coin that seems fully understood today may reveal new secrets tomorrow. This ongoing process ensures that the study of the 1994 penny is never truly complete. There is always the possibility of a new discovery waiting to be made. The idea of permanence versus change is central to the penny's story. While the physical coin remains largely unchanged, the world around it evolves rapidly. The 1994 penny has witnessed the rise of the internet, the spread of smartphones, and the shift toward digital payments. In this context, the penny becomes a symbol of continuity in a fast-changing world. Ultimately, the 1994 1-cent coin teaches a quiet but powerful lesson: significance is not always tied to size or immediate worth. Sometimes, meaning accumulates slowly, layer by layer, through time, memory, and human curiosity. This small coin continues to gather stories, emotions, and interpretations, growing richer in meaning with each passing year, and reinforcing the idea that even the smallest piece of currency can leave a lasting mark on history. As the journey into the 1994 1-cent coin continues, attention turns toward patience and discipline, two qualities that define serious collectors. Unlike fast-moving markets or instant rewards, coin collecting rewards those who are willing to wait, observe, and learn. The 1994 penny, so common on the surface, becomes a test of this patience. It challenges collectors to slow down and appreciate detail, history, and possibility. Patience is especially important when searching for varieties and errors. Many collectors examine thousands of pennies before finding one truly unusual. This repetitive, careful process builds skill and sharpens the eye. Over time, a collector begins to notice subtle differences in lettering, spacing, and texture that once went unnoticed. The 1994 penny becomes a training ground, teaching collectors how to see rather than merely look. Discipline also plays a role in resisting hype. Stories of extreme values can be exciting, but experienced collectors learn to separate fact from rumor. They study verified auction results, consult reference materials, and rely on professional grading. This disciplined approach protects them from disappointment and helps maintain the integrity of the hobby. At the same time, it does not extinguish hope, it refines it. The concept of condition rarity becomes increasingly important as time passes. While the 1994 penny itself is not rare in general, examples in top condition are coins that retain full luster, sharp strikes, and original color decades after minting are surprisingly scarce. This scarcity creates a quiet form of rarity that is often overlooked by beginners but highly valued by advanced collectors. Another fascinating dimension is the relationship between coins and memory. A 1994 penny might remind someone of the year they graduated, moved to a new place, or experienced a major life change. These personal associations transform the coin into a memory object. In this sense, value becomes deeply personal, shaped by individual experience rather than market price alone. The global economy continues to influence how coins are perceived. As cash usage declines in many parts of the world, physical coins take on a more symbolic role. The 1994 penny represents an era when coins were central to everyday life. This symbolic value may grow over time as future generations encounter coins less frequently. Collectors also consider the role of documentation. Keeping records of where a coin was found, how it was acquired, and how it has been stored adds context and credibility. A well-documented 1994 penny with known provenance can be more appealing than an identical coin with no history attached. Documentation turns an object into a narrative. The study of pennies encourages mindfulness. Examining a small coin requires focus, steady hands, and attention to detail. This quiet concentration can be deeply satisfying, offering a sense of calm and purpose. In a world filled with noise and speed, the simple act of studying a 1994 penny becomes almost meditative. Over time, collectors often shift their perspective. What begins as a search for value may evolve into a genuine appreciation for design, history, and craftsmanship. The 1994 penny becomes less about what it might be worth and more about what it represents. This shift marks a deeper level of engagement with the hobby. As the story moves forward, the 1994 1-cent coin begins to feel less like an object and more like a conversation between generations. Coins speak without words. They pass silently from hand to hand, carrying with them traces of countless lives. A 1994 penny may have paid for a newspaper, rested forgotten under a car seat, or sat untouched in a collector's roll for decades. Each path adds invisible history that no price guide can fully capture. There is also a quiet dignity in the penny's survival. Despite debates about eliminating the 1-cent coin, despite inflation and changing habits, the penny remains. The 1994 cent stands firmly in the middle of this ongoing debate, representing a time when the penny's role was already questioned, yet still deeply ingrained in daily life. This tension between usefulness and symbolism adds another layer of meaning to the coin. Advanced collectors often speak about eye appeal, a quality that goes beyond technical grading. Two 1994 pennies with the same grade can look very different. One might glow with warm, original color and sharp detail, while another might appear dull or lifeless despite similar wear. Eye appeal is subjective, yet it strongly influences desirability. This subjectivity reminds us that value is not purely mathematical, it is human. The 1994 penny also invites comparison with other Lincoln cents that achieved legendary status. Famous dates and errors from earlier years have taught collectors that rarity is sometimes accidental. No one at the mint intended to create rarities, they emerged through small mistakes or limited circumstances. This historical lesson keeps hope alive that even modern coins like the 1994 cent can surprise us. Another important element is mentorship within the hobby. Experienced collectors often guide newcomers, teaching them how to identify genuine errors, avoid damage, and build meaningful collections. The 1994 penny frequently appears in these lessons because it is accessible. Almost anyone can find one, making it an ideal starting point. In this way, the coin helps pass knowledge from one generation of collectors to the next. The role of imagination should not be underestimated. When people hear extraordinary value claims, their imagination is sparked. They begin to look at coins differently, with curiosity rather than indifference. Even if most discoveries turn out to be ordinary, the act of searching changes perception. A 1994 penny becomes a symbol of possibility, reminding people that hidden stories may exist in the most familiar places. There is also an ethical side to collecting. Responsible collectors respect history, avoid altering coins, and value honesty in representation. Cleaning or modifying a 1994 penny in hopes of increasing value often destroys its authenticity. Learning this lesson is part of the collector's journey. It reinforces respect for originality and patience over shortcuts. As years pass, scholarship continues to refine understanding. New reference books, updated census reports, and improved grading standards reshape how collectors view coins. What is considered common today may be reconsidered tomorrow. The 1994 penny remains part of this evolving knowledge base, its story still being written. The emotional rhythm of collecting is subtle but powerful. There are moments of excitement, long periods of routine searching, and occasional disappointment. Yet collectors persist because the process itself is rewarding. Studying a 1994 penny under light, turning it slowly, noticing its details, creates a quiet connection with history that few modern objects can offer. By this stage in the journey, the 1994 1-cent coin stands not as a promise of guaranteed wealth, but as an invitation. An invitation to observe carefully, to learn continuously, and to appreciate the extraordinary potential hidden within ordinary things. This ongoing relationship between coin and collector is what gives the penny its enduring strength, and it is why the story continues to unfold, deeper and richer with every passing year. As the exploration reaches even deeper levels, the 1994 1-cent coin begins to reflect broader themes of identity and national memory. Currency is one of the most personal expressions of a nation's values, and the penny is perhaps the most intimate of all, handled by nearly everyone at some point. The 1994 penny carries with it the identity of the United States at a specific moment in time, quietly preserving that identity in metal. The presence of Abraham Lincoln on the coin anchors it firmly in the nation's moral and historical foundation. By 1994, Lincoln's image had already appeared on the penny for 85 years, longer than any other design in U.S. history. This continuity reinforces a sense of stability and tradition. When someone encounters a 1994 penny, they are seeing the same face that their grandparents and great-grandparents saw, creating a powerful link across generations. Collectors often describe a sense of responsibility toward preservation. Owning a coin like the 1994 penny, especially in high condition, feels like temporary guardianship rather than ownership. The collector protects the coin not only for personal enjoyment but for future hands that will hold it. This sense of stewardship elevates the hobby beyond accumulation and into the realm of cultural preservation. Economic symbolism also plays a role. The penny represents affordability, accessibility, and equality. Everyone, regardless of wealth, can possess one. In this way, the 1994 penny is a democratic object. It belongs to everyone and no one at the same time. This universal access is part of what makes extraordinary value stories so compelling. The idea that something so common could become so valuable resonates deeply with human hopes. The passage from circulation to collection is another fascinating transformation. A 1994 penny pulled from everyday use and placed into a collection undergoes a shift in identity. It is no longer money, it becomes an artifact. This transformation is psychological as much as physical. The coin is seen differently, treated differently, and valued differently. The role of storytelling continues to expand. Each collector adds their own interpretation, their own emphasis, their own belief. Over time, these individual stories form a collective narrative around the 1994 penny. Some focus on technical details, others on emotional connections, others on speculative potential. Together, they create a rich tapestry of meaning. The educational power of the penny extends into younger generations. Introducing children to coin collecting often begins with simple dates like 1994. It teaches patience, attention to detail, and respect for history. These lessons have lasting impact, shaping how young minds approach learning and discovery. The 1994 penny thus becomes a quiet teacher. Even the imperfections of the coin carry meaning. Small nicks, wear, and discoloration tell stories of use and movement. While collectors prize perfection, there is also beauty in a coin that shows its age honestly. A circulated 1994 penny reflects real life, real transactions, and real moments. It is history in motion. As digital currencies and cashless payments become more common, physical coins gain a nostalgic glow. The 1994 penny stands as a reminder of tactile experiences, the weight in the hand, the sound of coins clinking, the act of counting change. These sensory memories add emotional value that cannot be replicated digitally. As the narrative approaches an even more reflective stage, the 1994 1-cent coin begins to represent the idea of endurance. In a world that constantly replaces the old with the new, the penny remains, quietly resisting obsolescence. The 1994 cent has survived economic shifts, technological revolutions, and changing social habits, yet it still exists in collections, jars, and memories. Endurance is visible in the coin's physical state. Despite being made with a zinc core and thin copper plating, many 1994 pennies have held up remarkably well. Some show wear, others remain brilliant, but all demonstrate the resilience of a design meant to last. This durability reinforces the idea that even modest materials, when thoughtfully crafted, can endure for decades. The relationship between scarcity and desire becomes clearer with time. As more collectors enter the hobby and seek to complete date sets, interest in specific years like 1994 grows steadily. While the coin may not be rare in absolute terms, demand for high-quality examples continues to rise. This dynamic shows how value is shaped not just by numbers, but by human attention. There is also a philosophical aspect to collecting that emerges here. Coins invite contemplation about what society chooses to preserve. The fact that people care deeply about a 1994 penny says something about the human need to hold on to tangible links with the past. In preserving coins, collectors preserve memory itself. The penny's role in storytelling reaches a mature stage. Early excitement gives way to deeper understanding. Collectors no longer ask only, "What is it worth?" but also, "What does it represent?" The 1994 penny becomes a lens through which to view broader themes of history, economics, and culture. Generational transfer adds another dimension. Collections are often passed down, and with them come stories, lessons, and values. A 1994 penny in a family collection may one day be explained by a parent or grandparent, turning a simple object into a teaching moment. This continuity strengthens the coin's emotional significance. The idea of extreme value, while captivating, becomes less central at this stage. Experienced collectors understand that true richness comes from knowledge and appreciation. Even if a 1994 penny never achieves legendary auction prices, its role in the collector's journey remains invaluable. It is a stepping stone, a reference point, and a reminder of why the hobby began. Time continues to add perspective. As decades pass, the year 1994 feels increasingly distant. Coins from that year slowly transition from modern to historical. This shift changes how they are viewed and valued. What was once ordinary becomes a marker of a bygone era. The emotional tone also deepens. There is a quiet satisfaction in understanding a coin thoroughly, in knowing its history, composition, and place in the larger narrative. The 1994 penny offers this satisfaction to those who take the time to study it. As the journey reaches its final chapter, the 1994 1-cent coin stands fully revealed, not as a mystery to be solved, but as a quiet truth to be understood. What began as a simple piece of currency has unfolded into a symbol of history, patience, curiosity, and human imagination. The penny does not shout its importance. It whispers it, waiting for someone willing to listen. The true ending of this story is not measured in auction prices or sensational headlines. It is measured in the countless moments of attention the coin has received, the hands that have held it, and the minds it has inspired to look closer. The idea that a 1994 penny could be worth extraordinary sums, even when exaggerated, serves a purpose. It wakes people up. It encourages awareness. It transforms indifference into curiosity. Over time, the penny teaches perspective. It shows that value is layered. There is face value, market value, historical value, emotional value, and personal value. These layers coexist, and none cancels out the others. A 1994 penny can be worth 1 cent in commerce, a few dollars in a collection, or a lifetime of meaning to someone who understands its story. The ending also reminds us of responsibility. Coins are historical witnesses. Preserving them, studying them honestly, and respecting their originality honors the past. The 1994 penny is part of a long chain of human effort, from the miners who sourced the metals, to the engravers who designed the dies, to the mint workers who struck the coins, and finally to the people who used them in daily life. As the world moves further into digital systems and intangible currency, the physical penny becomes even more significant. It represents touch, weight, sound, and permanence. The 1994 1-cent coin stands as a reminder of a time when value could be felt in the hand, not just seen on a screen. In the end, the greatest worth of the 1994 penny lies in what it reveals about us. Our hope that something small can become something great. Our willingness to search for meaning in ordinary places. Our desire to connect with history in a tangible way. These human qualities are timeless, just like the coin itself. So the story closes not with a final number, but with an open invitation. The next time you see a penny dated 1994, do not dismiss it. Pause. Look. Consider the journey it has taken and the stories it still carries. In that moment of attention, the penny fulfills its highest purpose, reminding us that even the smallest piece of our past can still speak, still teach, and still matter.